Hi there. So this is going to be a come as you are yoga session, and you can be in your PJs or your street clothes, anything that you can move freely in. Your hair can be a mess, it doesn't matter. I was going to do yesterday a restorative video, and the minute that I got into constructive rest, I didn't want to move again, so I didn't do the video because it's pretty boring to watch somebody in constructive rest for 20 minutes. But today I thought we could do some different kinds of restorative yoga. So I'm going to make suggestions for props and go ahead and collect those. You know, if you don't have like actual yoga props, you can just get some pillows and some blankets for yourself, different size cushions. If you have lacrosse balls, soft trainer golf balls, or any kind of dog toys, cat toys, different shape balls that could be useful. If you don't have blocks, then perhaps you could get a large book and then have a blanket or a towel that you can place over it to make it a little softer. I've got a blanket. I've got my big bolster here, which pillows or blankets will suffice, or cushions can suffice. And then I have an extra rolled up mat, and this can be really nice under the knees or under the sacrum, and we're going to be using that today for sure. So something that you can either roll up, like a blanket under your knees, or something to substitute. The other thing that I have that I realize not everyone has, so I'll give you an alternative. So this is a small Pilates ball, and then most of the air is taken out of it. So there's a little bit of air and not too much. Now, if you don't have something like this, all you need is, and I saw this from one of my favorite yoga teachers. Her name is, I think it's Megan McCarthy. I think so. Anyway, she's great. She was using Ziploc bags. So she would fill the Ziploc bag with just a little bit of air, and then that can serve the same kind of purpose. So let's come onto our backs and just get a read of how the lower back, upper back feels on the ground here in constructive rest. I promise I won't go to sleep here today. Okay. So settling into the ground and allowing the body to completely release to the support of the ground. And feel free to shift yourself as you need to find comfort, to find spread, and to release the muscles in the upper body, especially the groin here. And just breathe and allow your breath to deepen and soften. And as you deepen and soften the breath, see if you can really empty the belly with each exhalation. Release it more and more towards and into, as if into the ground. And I think this is where I conked out yesterday. Giving your body time and space to unwind, release its contractions. Okay, let's start by bringing one knee in towards the chest. The other leg can then be extended long. And just starting to get in touch and awakening that front of the thigh and the extended leg. Feel free to explore the rotation of the bent leg hip if that feels good, or just hold it. And just feel this opposition here, this shortened side versus the lengthened side. And my feet are not active, but that's always something you can do. Bringing the toes back towards the shin, pushing through the heel away without locking the knee. And it just gives a bit of a different sensation. Bringing this bent leg knee closer into the chest, hollowing out the belly. And release. Bringing that knee back and the other foot back into constructive rest. Taking a moment just to feel any difference between sides. Let's take the other knee in towards the chest. Ooh, lower back. Hello, good morning. Okay, and then extending the leg. Exploring some hip movement if you'd like, or just holding still. And then activating your feet if you'd like, without locking the knee of the extended leg. And then giving an extra little squeeze with the knee, hollowing out the belly. Letting the back flatten to the ground. And release that leg. Bring up the other standing leg to standing. Well, that felt good. Let's grab the rolled mat or blanket. And I'm going to just place it for the moment just between my knees and hips. And because you are, I'm yawning, sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the heels up onto that support. So you'll feel the weight on the toes of the foot and just relax the leg or lower leg onto the bolster and floor. And start to get a sense of that line that runs from the top of the shin, maybe even into the knee, and down through the foot. Feel that line of support. And then just press into the floor with the toes and just notice what wants to happen as you press. So I'm not going to lift my hips from my hips or lower back. I'm going to press in with my toes, and as a result of this that downward motion into the ground. This floats upward. And that's going to allow me to take this bolster now and place it under my sacrum. So now my pelvis is elevated. You can remain on your toes or now place your feet flat. And you may have to adjust this so that you feel comfortable through the spine. We don't want it in the curve of the lower back. We want it further down, right on that triangular bone, the sacrum at the bottom of the spine or thereabouts. So with this position and the elevation of the hips, again tuning into the belly, the psoas, the entire deep inner core muscle that runs along both sides of the spine, just allowing it to relax and soften. If you feel as though you're having to support your legs up through the groin, you can either open your feet into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, or you can walk your feet out towards the edges of your mat and let your knees fall in towards each other. So we're just going to rest here for a few moments. You know, as I'm noticing that my body's releasing, there's a little bit of a desire to lengthen my spine up towards the top of the mat. So now I have a little more traction through the lower spine. And in fact, it might feel good to bring arms overhead. And, ooh, that was nice. I landed on my blanket. So if you have a pillow or something that you can place over your head to let your arms fall to, that might feel good. So nice deep full breaths here through the belly. Feeling on the in-breath how everything sort of grows away from that center point. And on the exhalation, everything collects again towards that center point. And then reverse that sensation because they're both equally valid. So this idea of as you breathe in, everything collects back towards the center. And as you exhale, everything expands outward. So just play with those two opposites. Now, for some of you, and even for myself here, the more I stay in this position, I start to feel a little bit of hanging of my legs off my pelvis, which is uncomfortable. And, you know, the sensation is wanting to close the legs from fatigue of having the legs open. So if that's your case, you can always use blocks are really good here. or just wedge another cushion or something that you can rest the knees on, give a little support to, and then you'll be more comfortable here with a little less tension through the front of the thighs. And feel free to have your arms wherever you like. We'll just be here another 30 seconds or so. Soften everything. This little bit of elevation for the hips is so nice for the psoas to just open back and up. Very relaxing. Okay, so we will come out of this by bringing the legs together. So rolling the feet, coming back to standing, moving any blocks out of the way or cushions out of the way. And then let's bring the feet in towards the bottom of the pelvis, buttocks. And then we'll, don't push away with the ankle. Just let the feet kind of relax in the standing position. And then press the feet into the ground to lift and float the hips. And remove whatever you had there and lower back to the ground. And then you can relax the feet to the ground. Back in constructive rest, just to notice how everything feels now. Definitely feeling more softness now in my core. I hope you are too. Okay, so at your own pace and timing, let's come and roll onto the front of the body. And just feeling as if reaching the legs away from the body, so kind of walking them away towards the bottom of the mat. And just settling into rock on the tops of the thighs, front of pelvis, abdomen. Releasing any tension in the lower back. And then just taking a bit of time to breathe and feel now the front body in relation to the ground. Releasing tension. Now, if you have a Pilates ball, where did I put it? Oh, of course, it's at the other end. So I'm just going to reach for my Pilates ball here, back. And if you have your Ziploc bag half full of air or less, now we're going to use this under the heart. And you're going to have to find the correct air pressure that feels comfortable for you. This is a little flat for me, so I'm going to add some more air to it. All right. If it's too much, it's going to feel like too much pressure. And if it's too little, it'll feel like not enough. So you have to find that sweet place. So we're placing this right in the sternum, under the collarbone. And then rest your head on your hands, or if you'd like, you can just rest your arms alongside your body. Let the shoulders kind of mold around your support. Or you can use a block or something under your head if it's not quite comfortable to have your forehead all the way to the ground. So I think I have my arms up here. So just feel that pressure on the sternum. And you can explore a little bit what it's like to move on top of that support. So a little bit of rolling. And if the head goes with that rolling, allow it to roll too. So we are bringing some sensation to that chest cavity, to the heart, to the ribs, to all that protection that generally kind of guards our vulnerability. So allow yourself to soften and release to the support, to the air pocket that's allowing you to float atop. And you can feel free to explore bringing the chest up and down if you like, or just try some different kinds of movements. Maybe bringing one shoulder forward, the other back as you roll. And this is slow and subtle work, but it has really deep and significant impacts on the body. So take your time, slow down. Get curious about the deeper, unknown, unrecognized, unacknowledged parts of your body, of your experience. Already I'm feeling, and you might also be sensing into it also, there's just an ease to the opening as I lift my chest. When I first started, I don't know, there was more tension in the front of my body, and now that tension has somewhat been released through the rolling. And I'm noticing just a slight change, an awareness of a slight change in my breath. Good. And as you lift here, don't feel like you have to lift with your back. Press your arms into your support to help lift yourself so that the pressure's taken off the back. Still get the stretch. And feel free also to plug the toes back and reach away with the heels. That can feel really nice. It's just a gentle extension here. Breathe, and when you exhale, just release all of the tension in the back body. And come down. Okay, so let's remove the support and lay flat for a moment. Just feel how the chest feels now. Feels so incredibly different. Hard to describe. More present, softer. Okay, so let's push up onto knees and all fours. Now, I'm feeling a lot going on in my lower back still this morning. It's, I don't know, those of you who know that I was having a lot of back issues this year, and I've been very fortunate to be able to work them out. I had a pinched nerve in my neck that was radiating down my arm. Took a lot of restorative type yoga to get me back on track with that. And I had a lot of right hip issues, which is my problem hip, or it was my problem hip. I'm not having trouble with it anymore. I couldn't even sit in easy pose for a while. And I had to really retrain my body to break some pretty bad habits. And that took a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of really slow work. And so now everything has sort of collected in what I think was the origin of all of those problems, which was here. And so this I haven't quite worked out yet. I'm still working with. And, you know, I know a lot of us have back problems or issues in our lifetime. You know, everybody takes their own approach to dealing with it, of course. For me, a big part of it was changing a very soft mattress, too soft, to something that was more supportive of the lower back. It's still not quite right, but it's better. So, you know, we have to take these chances and try things until we can find what is supportive and perfect for our body. It's the Goldilocks fairy tale, you know. We need to find what the best chair, the best porridge. Okay, so I'm going to use the big bolster here and do a forward fold over the bolster. So I think a child's pose. I don't feel like I want my legs in front of me right now. So I'm going to be on my knees with the legs wide. And of course you can just have blankets or cushions stacked, or even a couple of pillows can be really nice. And then you're going to just bring your trunk onto your support, and then turn your head either to one side or the other, or depending on the length of your bolster, like this one is long enough for me to rest my head on. If I were to move it and it was a little too short for my head, then I would probably want a block or a blanket or something that could catch my head. So I don't feel like I need that for myself. So just your arms can hug the bolster or blankets or pillow if you like. That can be really nice. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Or you can just have your arms alongside the bolster and your body. Just release your body to the support, to the ground. We're about halfway through this pose. If you'd like, you can change. If you're on your cheek, you can change to the other cheek. Woo. Okay, so let's push the hands into the ground to come up. And move the bolster. And come onto our backs again. Oh, that's better. If you prefer to have the legs long here, go ahead. So I'd like to do some arching and flattening the back. So this is just a pelvic tilt. We tilt the pelvis toward the feet and then back towards the head. So as we tilt towards the feet, the back arches. And as we tilt back towards the head, everything flattens. So just go slowly here. Take your time to feel each articulation as you move through the spine And also just be really cognizant of the connection of each vertebra one to the other. And do watch for the tendency to bring the chin in to the chest. Try to keep some space through the front of the neck, even as you lengthen the back of the neck. Good. Go ahead and rest in neutral. I'm going to invite you to rock to the left and the right. So it's the same kind of thing with the pelvis shifting weight. So as we press in with the right leg or right foot, that hip lifts and it pours weight into the other hip. So just rocking on the sacrum right to left, staying really connected through the feet. This can be small. It doesn't have to be a big movement. But it can also grow quite large. And take some other elements of the body along for the ride. So the bigger you make this, notice that your head will start to turn away from the direction you're moving. And even that arm and back that your head is looking towards might start to want to kind of float up behind you to the corner of the mat behind you. And the knees reach downward toward the bottom of the mat. So that's optional if you want to make that movement larger. Actually, I'm quite happy just to make them small at the moment. It's pretty much, kind of what's happening when we're walking this movement. Take your time. There is so much to be experienced in slowing down. And I know it can be hard because I used to hate moving this slow. And I used to hate using props. Give yourself permission to discover something new or to change your likes and dislikes. Feeling really good to my lower back. I think this is exactly what I needed. And now back to neutral. So just centered on your pelvis. And we're going to kind of put everything together. So making clock circles. So tilting the pelvis up towards the head, off to the left, down towards the feet, and around to the right, and back up to the head. So just circling to the left. Let your body remain heavy on the ground. You don't have to lift yourself, and that's a kind of a tricky thing here. Let your bones remain heavy and connected. Good, and then you can go the other way a few times. Notice where there might be tension or tenderness or tightness. Notice where you might try and lift your body off the ground. Stay heavy. And that doesn't mean that you can't arch your back and flatten your back. That's part of the movement. It's just where you're connected, you want to stay heavy. Good, and then coming back to neutral in your own time, shifting in any way you would like, maybe some organic, less structured movement. And then stillness. And then let's take Shavasana. So you might need a blanket. If it's a little chilly, my feet are a little chilly this morning. And if you need something under your head so that your chin is not jutting up towards the ceiling, then that's also recommended. So now just relaxing completely into the floor, everything softening, any remaining areas of tightness you want to release through some pandiculation, feel free. Pandiculation, remember, is tightening everything around the bone as you lengthen and then retract back and release. Okay, so if you want to take a long body stretch, feel free. If you want to bring your knees into your chest, that might feel good as well. We're just going to roll onto our side when you're ready. Sometimes what I see in classes is that people rush through this sideline position. You know, we all just want to roll up and push ourselves up and be on our way. So give yourself permission to take some quality time in this sideline position. And then you can push yourself up. So we have one more thing to do, and hope that is feeling good for you so far. So I have some racquetballs here. They're fairly squishy. They're not really hard, which is nice. So I'm going to invite you to take your time to come into standing. And actually, you'd only really need one because we're going to do one foot at a time. Okay, so just using the ball underneath the foot and working through the outer toes to the inside. Just the line of the toes to start. And I know it's really hard not to look down, but try not to. I just did. There I go again. Oh, there I go again. But try to look up. And use your proprioceptive intelligence to feel where the ball is and how it's working. And let's move the ball towards the arch of the foot. So it's the bubbling spring, I think it's called. It's a point right under the ball of the foot, or kind of in between two pads. And then more dark towards the middle arch. And then into the heel. And then feel free to roll at will, back and front, or however it feels good for you. And then just stand for a moment and notice any difference between your 2 feet and even that whole side of the body. Since we already worked a lot of the lines on the ground, the difference might not be as big as if we had started with rolling the feet. And now let's go to the other foot. So starting by working through the toe line from the inside and to the outside and back. Again, try not to look down. And then where the 2 balls of the feet from the outer ball and the big ball meet. And then towards the middle arch. And into the heel. And then feel free to roll back and forth as you choose. It's like another beautiful day here. Hope it's lovely where you are. Not a cloud in the sky, crystal clear blue. Nice, cool breeze. Good. And then place that foot on the ground. And you are ready to go about your day. So I'll just come down here so my head's not cut off again. And we'll close class. You can be standing for this if you'd like, or you can come down into easy pose or thunderbolt. Placing your hands together at your chest, let's begin to rub them, create some heat. And bring them in, take a deep breath, hold the breath at the top, release when you need to. Apply the root blocks if you're familiar with them. Good, and then let's breathe in to tune out together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you for joining me for Come As You Are. See you later.